The Capetian dynasty, also known as the House of France, is a dynasty of Frankish origin, founded by Hugh Capet. It is among the largest and oldest European royal houses, consisting of Hugh Capet's male line descendants. It ruled in France as the House of Capet from the ascension of Hugh Capet in 987 until the death of Charles IV in 1328. The dynasty had a crucial role in the formation of the French state. Initially obeyed only in their own demesne, the Île-de-France, the Capetian kings slowly, but steadily, increased their power and influence until it grew to cover the entirety of their realm. For a detailed narration on the growth of French royal power, see Crown Lands of France. Members of the dynasty were traditionally Catholic. The early Capetians had an alliance with the Church. The French were also the most active participants in the Crusades, culminating in a series of 5 Crusader kings, Louis VII, Philip Augustus, Louis VIII, St. Louis, and Philip III. The Capetian alliance with the papacy suffered a severe blow after the disaster of the Aragonese Crusade. Philip III's son and successor, Philip IV, humiliated a pope and brought the papacy under French control. The later Valois, starting with Francis I, ignored religious differences and allied with the Ottoman Sultan to counter the growing power of the Holy Roman Empire. Henry IV was a Protestant at the time of his accession, but realized the necessity of conversion after 4 years of religious warfare. The Capetians generally enjoyed a harmonious family relationship. By tradition, younger sons and brothers of the King of France are given appanages for them to maintain their rank and to dissuade them from claiming the French crown itself. When Capetian cadets did aspire for kingship, their ambitions were directed not at the French throne, but at foreign thrones. Through this, the Capetians spread widely over Europe. In modern times, both King Felipe VI of Spain and Grand Duke Henri of Luxembourg are members of this family, both through the Bourbon branch of the dynasty. Along with the House of Habsburg, it is one of the 2 most powerful continental European royal families, dominating European politics for nearly 5 centuries. Name origins and usage. The name of the dynasty derives from its founder, Hugh, who was known as Hugh Capet. The meaning of Capet is unknown. While folk etymology identifies it with cape, other suggestions suggest it to be connected to the Latin word caput, and thus explain it as meaning chief, or head. Historians in the 19th century came to apply the name Capetian to both the ruling House of France and to the wider spread male line descendants of Hugh Capet. It was not a contemporary practice. The name Capet has also been used as a surname for French royals, particularly but not exclusively those of the House of Capet. One notable use was during the French Revolution, when the dethroned King Louis XVI and Queen Marie Antoinette were referred to as Louis and Antoinette Capet. The Robertians and before. The dynastic surname now used to describe Hugh Capet's family prior to his election as King of France as Robertians, or Robertines. The name is derived from the family's first certain ancestor, Robert the Strong, the Count of Paris. Robert was probably son of Robert III of Worms and grandson of Robert of Hisbay. The Robertians probably originated in the county Hisbay, around Tongeren in modern-day Belgium. The sons of Robert the Strong were Odo and Robert, who both ruled as King of Western Francia. The family became Counts of Paris under Odo and Dukes of the Franks under Robert, possessing large parts of Neustria. The Carolingian dynasty ceased to rule France upon the death of Louis V. After the death of Louis V, the son of Hugh the Great, Hugh Capet, was elected by the nobility as King of France. Hugh was crowned at Noyon on July 3, 987 with the full support from Holy Roman Emperor Otto III. With Hugh's coronation, a new era began for France, and his descendants came to be named the Capetians, with the Capetian dynasty ruling France for more than 800 years. Robertian family branches Rodebert, Ingerman of Hisbay, Irmgard of Hisbay, wife of Louis the Pious. Canca, founder of the Lorsch Abbey. Heinrich, Count in the Langau, Popo of Grappeld, ancestor of the Frankish House of Babenberg. Landrada, Saint Chrodogang, Archbishop of Metz, abbot to the Lorsch Abbey. Robert of Hisbay, Robert III of Worms, Robert the Strong, Odo, King of Western Francia, Richildis, married to a Count of Troyes, Robert, King of Western Francia, Emma, married Rudolph of Burgundy. Adela, married Herbert II, Count of Vermandois. Hugh the Great, Hugh Capet, founder House of Capet. Hodwig, married Reginald IV, Count of the Mons. Robert II. Otto Henry, Odo. Beatrix, married Frederick of Bar. Emma, married Richard I of Normandy. Herbert, Bishop of Auxerre. Capetians through history. Over the succeeding centuries, Capetians spread throughout Europe, ruling every form of provincial unit from kingdoms to manors. Salic law Salic law, re-established during the Hundred Years' War from an ancient Frankish tradition, caused the French monarchy to permit only male descendants of Hugh to succeed to the throne of France. Without Salic law, upon the death of John I, the crown would have passed to his half-sister, Joan. However, Joan's paternity was suspect due to her mother's adultery. The French magnates adopted Salic law to avoid the succession of a possible bastard. In 1328, King Charles IV of France died without male heirs, as his brothers did before him. Philip of Valois, the late king's first cousin, acted as regent, pending the birth of the king's posthumous child, which proved to be a girl. Isabella of France, sister of Charles IV, claimed the throne for her son, Edward III of England. The English king did not find support among the French lords, who made Philip of Valois their king. From then on, the French succession not only excluded females, but also rejected claims based on the female line of descent. Thus the French crown passed from the House of Capet after the death of Charles IV to Philip VI of France of the House of Valois, a cadet branch of the Capetian dynasty, then to Louis II, Duke of Île-de-France, of the Île-de-France branch of the Valois, who became Louis XII of France, then to Francis, Duke of Valois, Count of Angoulême, who became Francis I of France, and his descendants, of the Île-de-France Angoulême, then to Henry III of Navarre, who became Henry IV of France, of the House of Bourbon. A cadet branch of the Capetian dynasty. This did not affect monarchies not under that law, such as Portugal, Spain, Navarre, and various smaller duchies and counties. Therefore, many royal families appear and disappear in the French succession or become cadet branches upon marriage. A complete list of the senior-most line of Capetians is available below. Capetian cadet branches The Capetian dynasty has been broken many times into cadet branches. A cadet branch is a line of descent from another line than the senior-most. This list of cadet branches shows most of the Capetian cadet lines and designating their royal French progenitor, although some sub-branches are not shown. Descendants of Philip III of France, House of Valois, House of Valois Île-de-France, House of Île-de-France Angoulême. House of Valois Anjou, House of Valois Burgundy, House of Burgundy Brabant, House of Burgundy Nevers. House of Valois Alena Section on. House of Epermel-Ray, House of Epermel-Ray Navarre. Descendants of Louis IX of France. Descendants of Louis VIII of France, House of Artois, House of Anjou, House of Anjou Naples, House of Anjou Taranto, House of Anjou Durazzo. Descendants of Louis VI of France, House of Dreux, Breton House of Dreux, House of Montfort. Capetian House of Courtenay, Capetian House of Courtenay Euro-Latin Emperors of Constantinople. Descendants of Henry I of France, Capetian House of Vermandois. Descendants of Robert II of France, House of Burgundy, Portuguese House of Burgundy, House of Orvisa Euro-illegitimate male line descent from the Capetian dynasty, House of Braganza Euro-illegitimate male line descent from the Capetian dynasty, House of Cadet Euro-illegitimate male line descent from the Capetian dynasty. Capetians and their domains 3 Latin emperors, Peter, Robert Baldwin II. 36 kings of France, Hugh Capet Robert II, Henry I Philip I, Louis VI, Louis VII, Philip II, Louis VII Street Louis IX, Philip III, Philip IV, Louis X John I Philip v Charles IV, Philip VI, John II, Charles v Charles VI, Charles VII, Louis XI, Charles VIII, Louis XII, Francis I Henry II, Francis II, Charles IX, Henry III, Henry IV, Louis XIII, Louis XIV, Louis XV, Louis XVI, Louis XVIII, Charles X Louis Philippe. 9 kings of Portugal: Alphonse I, Sancho I, Alphonse II, Sancho II, Alphonse III, Denis, Alphonse IV, Peter I, Ferdinand I. 11 kings and queens of Naples: Charles I, Charles II, Robert, Joanna I, Charles III, Ladislas, Joanna II, Rena, copyright I, Philip, Charles VII, Ferdinand IV. 4 kings of Sicily: Charles I, Philip, Charles VII, Ferdinand III. 4 kings of the Two Sicilies: Ferdinand I, Francis I, Ferdinand II, Francis II. 2 kings of Albania: Charles I, Charles II. 16 kings and queens of Navarre: Philip I, Louis I, John I, Philip II, Charles I, Joanna II, Philip III, Charles II, Charles III, Blanche I, Antoine I, Henry III, Louis II, Louis III, Louis IV, Louis V. 4 kings and queen of Poland: Louis, Hedwig, Henry. 11 kings and queen of Spain: Philip V, Louis, Ferdinand VI, Charles III, Charles IV, Ferdinand VII, Isabella II, Alphonse XII, Alphonse XIII, Juan Carlos, Felipe VI. 2 kings of Etruria: Louis, Charles Louis. 4 kings and queen of Hungary: Charles I, Louis I, Mary, Charles II. 2 lords of the Kingdom of Albania: Philip 1294 Euro 1332, Robert 1332. 9 prince and princesses of Achaia: Charles I, Charles II, Louis, Robert, Catherine, Philip, Joanna I, Charles III. 2 grand dukes of Luxembourg: Jean, Henri. 21 dukes and duchess of Burgundy: Otto of Paris, Otto Henry, Henry I, Robert I, Hugh I, Otto I, Hugh II, Otto II, Hugh III, Otto III, Hugh IV, Robert II, Hugh V, Otto IV, Philip I, John I, also John II of France, Philip II, John II, Philip III, Charles the Bold, Mary. 15 dukes and duchess of Brittany: Peter I, John I, John II, Arthur II, John III, John IV, John V, John VI, Francis I, Peter II, Arthur III, Francis II, Anne, Claude, Francis IV. 6 dukes and duchess of Brabant: Anthony, John IV, Philip I, Philip II, Charles, Mary. 6 dukes and duchess of Luxembourg: 3 dukes of Lorraine: Rena, copyright I, John II, Nicholas I. 3 dukes and duchess of Durazzo: John, Charles, Joanna, Louis. 1 duchess of Guelders, 1 duchess of Limburg, 1 duke of Milan, 7 dukes and duchess of Parma, 2 duchess and duke of Lucca, 7 margraves and marchionesses of Namur, 9 counts and countesses of Provence, 1 count of Portugal, Henry. 8 counts and countesses of Burgundy, 6 counts and countesses of Hainaut, 6 counts and countesses of Flanders, 3 counts and countesses of Holland, 3 counts and countesses of Zealand. Illegitimate descent: 2 emperors of Brazil: Pedro I 1822 Euro 1831, Pedro II 1831 Euro 1889. 20 monarchs of Portugal: John I, the Good, or the One of Happy Memory 1385 to 1433, Edward, the Philosopher, or the Eloquent 1433 to 1438, Afonso V, the African 1438 to 1481, John II, the Perfect Prince 1481 to 1495, Manuel I, the Fortunate 1495 to 1521, John III, the Pious 1521 to 1557, Sebastian, the Desired 1557 to 1578, Henry, the Chaste 1578 to 1580, Anthony, Prior of Crito 1580, Joe Poundo IV, Afonso VI, Pedro II, Joe Poundo V, Jose copyright I, Pedro III, Maria I, Joe Poundo VI, Pedro IV, Miguel I, Maria II. 8 Dukes of Braganza: Afonso, 8th Count of Barcelos, 1st Duke of Braganza. Ferdinand I, 2nd Duke of Braganza. Ferdinand II, 3rd Duke of Braganza and 1st Duke of Guimara-Pounders. James, 4th Duke of Braganza and 2nd Duke of Guimara-Pounders. Theodosius I, 5th Duke of Braganza and 3rd Duke of Guimara-Pounders. John I, 6th Duke of Braganza and 1st Duke of Barcelos. Theodosius II, 7th Duke of Braganza and 2nd Duke of Barcelos. John II, 8th Duke of Braganza and 3rd Duke of Barcelos. 10 Dukes of Cadaval de Nuno Alvares Pereira de Melo, 1st Duke of Cadaval de Luas Umbracube Sio Alvares Pereira de Melo, 2nd Duke of Cadaval de Jaime Alvares Pereira de Melo, 3rd Duke of Cadaval de Nuno Catano Alvares Pereira de Melo, 4th Duke of Cadaval de Miguel Catano Alvares Pereira de Melo, 5th Duke of Cadaval de Nuno Catano Alvares Pereira de Melo, 6th Duke of Cadaval de Maria da Piedade de Alvares Pereira de Melo, 7th Duchess of Cadaval de Jaime Sigismundo Alvares Pereira de Melo, 8th Duke of Cadaval de Nuno Maria José Copyright Catano Alvares Pereira de Melo, 9th Duke of Cadaval de Jaime Alvares Pereira de Melo, 10th Duke of Cadaval. Senior Capets. Throughout most of history, the senior Capet and the King of France were synonymous terms. Only in the time before Hugh Capet took the crown for himself and after the reign of Charles X is the term necessary to identify which. However, since primogeniture and the Salic law provided for the succession of the French throne for most of French history, here is a list of all the predecessors of the French monarchy, all the French kings from Hugh until Charles, and all the legitimist pretenders thereafter. All dates are for seniority, not reign. It is important to note that historians class the predecessors of Hugh Capet as Robertians, not Capetians. Noblemen in Neustria and their descendants, Cherubert, Credobatus Lambert I, Credobatus Lambert II, Count in the Upper Rhine Valley and Wormgau, Rotput I Thuringbert, Rotput II, Rotput III, Rotput IV, King of France, Odo Robert I, Count of Paris, Hugh, King of France, Hugh Robert II, Henry I Philip I, Louis VI, Louis VII, Philip II, Louis VIII, Louis IX, Philip III, Philip IV, Louis X John I Philip v Charles IV, Philip VI, John II, Charles v Charles VI, Charles VII, Louis XI, Charles VIII, Louis XII, Francis I Henry II, Francis II, Charles IX, Henry III, Henry IV, Louis XIII, Louis XIV, Louis XV, Louis XVI, Louis XVII, Louis XVIII, Charles X Duke of Angoulême, Louis XIX, Count of Chambord, Henri, Count of Montaiza-Cubden, Juan, Duke of Madrid, Carlos, Duke of Anjou and Madrid, Jack, Duke of San Jaime, Alfonso Carlos, King of Spain, Alfonso XIII, Duke of Anjou and Segovia, Jacques Henri, Duke of Anjou and Cadiz, Alphonse, Duke of Anjou, Louis. The Capetian dynasty today, many years have passed since the Capetian monarchs ruled a large part of Europe. However, they still remain as kings, as well as other titles. Currently 2 Capetian monarchs still rule in Spain and Luxembourg. In addition, 7 pretenders represent exiled dynastic monarchies in Brazil, France, Spain, Portugal, Parma and 2 Sicilies. The current legitimate, senior family member is Louis Alphonse de Bourbon, known by his supporters as Duke of Anjou, who also holds the legitimist claim to the French throne. Overall, dozens of branches of the Capetian dynasty still exist throughout Europe. Except for the House of Braganza, all current major Capetian branches are of the Bourbon Cadet branch. Within the House of Bourbon, many of these lines are themselves well-defined Cadet lines of the house. Current Capetian rulers Henri, Grand Duke of Luxembourg Felipe VI, King of Spain. Current Capetian pretenders Louis Alphonse, Duke of Anjou, legitimist pretender to France since 1989. Infante Carlos, Duke of Calabria, Calabrian pretender to the 2 Sicilies since 1964. Prince Carlo, Duke of Castro, Castrolist pretender to the 2 Sicilies since 2008. Carlos, Duke of Parma, pretender to Parma since 2010. Prince Sixtus Henry of Bourbon-Parma, Carlist pretender to Spain since 1979. Henri, Count of Paris, legitimist and all-copyrightonist pretender to France since 1999. Prince Pedro Carlos of all-copyright Ans Braganza, Petrocubed Polis pretender to Brazil since 2007. Prince Luz of all-copyright Ans Braganza, Valois as pretender to Brazil since 1981. De Ortpio, Duke of Braganza, pretender to Portugal since 1976. Current numbers: it is estimated that the Arnatic descendants of the Capetian dynasty consists of 6,500 people. The small number of Arnatic descendants of the kings of France, compared with the theoretical number, is explained by the frequent marriages between Capetian cousins between the 12th and 20th centuries. Some examples of considerable inbreeding among descendants of the kings of France are, Alfonso XIII of Spain, who, instead of having 1024 ancestors in the 11th generation, only had 111 distinct ancestors. Louis XIV of France has descended 368 times from Saint Louis. And, the four grandparents of the Henri, Count of Paris were all of the House of Orleans, all cousins and all grandchildren of Louis Philippe. Currently living individuals and descendants of the kings of France, in male or female line, legitimate or natural, are hundreds of thousands, probably millions, worldwide. Arms of Cadet branches. See also, List of living legitimate male Capetians, Genealogy Scriptoris vers Nicensis, Capetian Armorial, Treaty of Louviers. References. Further reading, Enmar Kraus, Konflikt und Ritual im Herrschaftsbrief der Frau 1/4 Hen Capetinger Euro und Herzerchungen zur Darstellung und Funktionssymbolischen Verhaltens. Riemer Verlag, Mar 1/4 NSTEO 2006, ISBN 978-3-930454-62-4, Fortier, Robert. The Capetian Kings of France, Monarchy and Nation. Macmillan, 1960. Hallam, Elizabeth M. Capetian France 987 Euro 1328. Longman, 1980. Laharty E., Thierry. Les Capetiens, Le Livre du Millénaire. Editions Christian, 1987. External links, Merck, Miroslav. Genealogies of the Capetian dynasty from Genealogy U. Genealogy EU.